and welcome to episode 3 of the Under Construction podcast. 3, they say, is the lucky number, Niall.
It definitely feels like it, Gerry. And
yes, it does.
Here, and you've already put this out in our new home for the foreseeable future for the Under Construction podcast in the fantastic Aurora building, joined once again by 2 brilliant guests.
Yes, indeed.
We have Katie Dunbar of Reid Mitchell with us and Holly Macmillan of Workman joining us. So guys, thanks very much for being here.
So might as well start off with Katie. So, Reid Mitchell, you've been there for how long now?
I started in January
Brilliant.
this year.
How are you liking it?
It's great.
Brilliant.
It's a good team. It's in the city centre. Really enjoying it so far.
So, what's your experience within the construction industry, Katie, that has led you to working with Reid Mitchell?
So, right back to the beginning, or
Whatever you want
just
to
like
jump
a
off from.
snapshot?
You could do a snapshot.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
So ended up at Reid Mitchell this year. I'm a building surveyor. I previously was at another firm doing a client-side secondment role for nearly 2 years. I did a bit of work with Church of Scotland prior to that, and was with the same firm for the secondment prior to that. I just kind of came into construction. I don't really know, sort of. My family's all in it. There's engineers, there's architects, there's builders. I suppose it's one of those ones when people say, oh, it's in your blood. But it's not. And I kind of stumbled across building surveying when I was at a bit of a crossroads doing uni the first time, and discovered it, did a placement, and the rest is history.
So, if you were to choose 3 top projects to date, what would they be?
Now see, my old boss might get annoyed if I don't say a industrial unit down at Hillington Park now. My 3 favourite projects, so probably my APC project, which was a refurbishment of a care home down in Kilmarnock, and it was like a Cat B Georgian villa. Cat B listed, sorry. My next favourite one, I've done some nice office fit outs and stuff like that, where you've had the end projects being really wow at the end of it. And then probably that secondment that I did most recently. So that was a care home for adults in rural Aberdeenshire, and we acquired that site, took it right back to the bare bones building, and completely refurbed it, totally refurbed the whole site. And I saw that from acquiring the property right through to client handover. So, I would say that's definitely, because it's most recent, but it's definitely one that will stick with me.
It's quite interesting you there. There's 2 rewarding projects, both care homes.
I know, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, and Holly, what about yourself then? You've been with Workman for how many years now?
It will be 3 years now, so
Fantastic.
Graduated in May 2022, so 3 years.
Brilliant. And how, as Jenny's saying, like, not to land you with like your top 3 projects, but maybe more, is there a scope of works that you've been enjoying?
Hang on a second. Someone's just been recently updated their qualifications, is she not?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Are we going to say what they are?
What's that? No, we'll let Holly say.
Okay, sorry.
So what is your upgrade,
Yeah, so
Miss Macmillan?
passed my APC last year.
Fantastic.
Chartered, so it's so good getting it.
Well done. Well done. That's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, phenomenal. And just to go back to then, what kind of, the range of work that you're dealing with then, what would be your most enjoyable aspect of the work that you have to actually get hands-on with?
I think I really enjoy, we've been doing a lot of like landlord enabling works at the moment, so where you've got a unit that you kind of need to carve up or strip out to accommodate a new kind of incoming tenant. So I do like them kind of jobs because you see them product as well, because we do retail delivery side of it with Workman. So you'll do the landlord enabling works package, you'll strip it out, you'll then have the tenant come in, they'll do their fit out, and then you see them product. So it's quite rewarding to kind of see a unit start as something and then be something quite spectacular.
I think you're just excited about the Hotel Chocolat opening up.
Yeah, I am. I was out there today and I was like, oh, yeah.
Do we all get invites?
Yes.
Yes.
That's something.
Excellent. It was all about education, and that's what we want to achieve. And as being the regional chair for RCS in Scotland, what do you see the support that you guys give building surveyors, especially for the overarching RCIS and the MRICS?
Yeah, so probably a bit of background on what Matrix is then.
Yes.
I know lots of people know, but some people don't know. So Matrix is a part of the RICS that is the early career network. So it's not just young surveyors, it's people who are early in their career. So it might be people who had a career change, or they have been working in the industry for a long time but they're now going down the route of trying to become chartered or whatever. There's 27 or 29 committees across the UK, and there's 3 in Scotland. So Glasgow, Aberdeen and Edinburgh. And at the moment, yeah, as you said, I'm the regional chair. So I oversee at a very high level the 3 Scotland committees. I was the Glasgow chair before I took that role on, and I did the Glasgow chair role from 2021 to 2024. Yeah, that's right. Matrix is great. I just love it, don't I? Yeah. I'm dead sad. I love it. I initially got involved to try and give back a bit after I passed my APC. There had just been this shift to the online assessments where it was, when I did it, it was on Skype. It's on Teams now, but it was on Skype. Like, who uses Skype? And I just thought, there's so many people that don't know what this process is going to be like. I was furloughed at the time when I passed mine, so I wasn't even in that environment where during lockdown you were doing all these Teams calls and online meetings and stuff. I was in that sort of kind of limbo stage, and I thought I would like to let people know what to expect in this new sort of style of assessment. And it's not that the RICS have never done online assessments, they do it in other parts of the world, but it was the big shift was in 2020 for the UK sort of assessments. And that was how I initially got involved. And it sort of snowballed from there. And we cover loads of things. We do social events, we do CPDs on a whole range of subjects, and we do site visits. What else do we do? We do loads of things.
Yeah.
Because Holly and I actually...
That's how we met, it was through RICS,
Yeah, so Holly and I had this like relationship where we knew who each other was for about 2 years before we met each other.
Yes, no, exactly. And again, having watched you being proactively working at socials to engage with the students, is that something that you feel is key to the role that you're in?
I mean, yes and no. Scotland Matrix has always had a good sort of reputation and track record for their social events. Definitely now there is a big shift from the RICS sort of stance that they want to target social events, but there is also that kind of awareness that we don't want it just to be a drinking club.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's absolutely not. We do a whole variance of events that are what we hope accessible to loads of different people, and we don't try and make it like, oh, come and just have loads of booze, because it's not about that. It's about meeting people. I was initially involved because I was in a firm that there wasn't loads of us and there wasn't another graduate at the time, and someone in that firm said to me, you should just go and try Matrix. Like, I did it when I was getting qualified and stuff, and it was great, good way to meet people. And she was so right. That was Leanne McDermott at EPCA.
We'll put the
Big up.
just as you
Big up, Leanne. Big up, Leanne.
Big up, Leanne. Matrix all those years ago. And I would not know any of the people really that I do now without Matrix. Yep. It's so true. It's so true.
Well, you're nodding away there, Holly. I'm assuming you feel the same from even being able to attend events when it's given back to you.
I was studying my APC, I used to go to like loads of events, and that's
study groups and all that. That's another thing that we do is like candidate support, off the record candidate support. We're not employed by RICS. It's all voluntary, and we're not some of us are assessors, but there's no like sort of hard and fast rule. I'm not an assessor. So it's sort of just like it's first-hand experience rather than official by-the-book advice. Official by-the-book advice is great, but sometimes it is also good to speak to someone that's sat in your position. They've been on that side of the table.
Yes.
Because I don't know, do you guys know what the APC involves?
No, I'll say no. So
This is, again, a learning curve for us.
So it's a 1 hour interview where you have a 10-minute presentation, then you have 10 minutes of questions on that presentation.
Yes.
So your presentation is on a case study that you've submitted like 3 months prior.
Yes.
And then the remaining 40 minutes, you're just grilled on the rest of your submission.
It's like your summary experience.
Your summary of experience, your mandatories, so like all like your soft skills, your ethics, your
rules of conduct and stuff.
Yeah, and that's just the one day. There's like structured training for 24 months beforehand. So to actually just get to speak to someone who's sat in that position and done it can sometimes be really beneficial. And to say, what did you do for that? What sort of things did they ask you about this? And do you think I should worry about that? And sometimes you're overthinking something in your head that you think's a massive big thing. And you speak to someone and you say, oh, no, don't be silly, no, that's fine. And then it's like, oh, right, okay, I can go in and relax a bit. So...
All right, now I think we need to cut to these lovely ladies. I am absolutely roasting here and I've got to take this top off. What are the broad benefits of the RICS and the memberships in the construction industry?
I think it'd be, so I'm going to add, Holly, I want your perspective on that from somebody from the outside, as it were, rather than the regional chair of Scotland.
Yeah, I've got to say it's good.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Like you say, like CPDs and stuff, you get knowledge of like current kind of regulations, everything that's going on at the moment. And it's just such a big body as well. So just to kind of be involved in that, networking as well is massive, and just having that accreditation as well at the end of it, is amazing. And you've got also a lot of access to things that you need, knowledge and everything. So yeah, it is a fantastic thing.
It's a world recognised qualification.
Yeah,
like it's worldwide. So I'm not going anywhere, but I know loads of people who have gone overseas and worked because they've now got that designation and the experience. They can go and do that, whereas if they hadn't done it.
Well, I know two guys that were in my year, they actually went out to New Zealand, which looks incredible. It does. Like my mum and dad are like, but yeah, they're loving it out there because it's worldwide. And
if it gives you the opportunity to travel and do that, then that's even better.
Yep.
A wee side question is, what's the oldest people that you interact with who are still interested?
It's you, Gerry, you're the oldest person.
Thanks very much. I'm only 39. I've just had a tough paper round, all right? But what is the oldest individuals that still want to take part in that especially continually prove? When do they kind of finish off? When do they going to go, can't be bothered anymore?
With Matrix?
Yes.
So Matrix has a cut-off. It is anything up to and post 10 years qualified.
Right.
So I'm like 5 years qualified this summer.
So it's like an NHBC for your house, basically. You've got 10 years to enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not overly precious. If someone arrived at an event, I'm not checking when they got chartered, but...
Sure, you're back in.
I knew there was going to be a wee inset for me somewhere. Brilliant.
But the way you both talk about it there, like you just said, well, like being part of a large body, it almost feels like, or from my side, listening to it, it gives you a sense of belonging within the industry, like an actual real anchor to everything you're doing.
Yep.
And so from a networking element then, have there been positive exchanges that have actually led to not necessarily opportunities, but growth? Well, there you go. Next question. But has it led to an element where it's taken you a stride further forward than you even realised at the time, just through that ability to meet people, to see more that's going on from just your peripheral vision, actually start to see more of the wider picture? Would you say that?
I think for me, in the last few years, having been in a situation where I'm looking for a role, I'm looking for a job, it's quite interesting to see which firms value it, which firms are interested in it. Not that anybody's been totally disinterested in it, but there's definitely firms who are really aware of what Matrix does. I think as an industry, everybody's aware of what the RICS does. It's sort of like it's the done thing. But Matrix is obviously that sort of step to the side. It's not a qualification. It's absolutely just a networking group. But for me, it was quite interesting just to sort of see the different firms' kind of opinion. Well, maybe opinion's probably not the right word. They're just their kind of
ethos towards it.
Yeah, just because I suppose some firms have maybe got a larger workforce that are at that stage, or a smaller workforce that are at that stage, and there's just like a kind of different dynamic, I suppose. All positive feedback, but
no, but that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
It also shows maybe a marker of either the infancy of the company itself, where they're at, and the stages of who they're employing, as you say, where it's growing.
Yeah.
And seeing again that sense of belonging, something to be part of that you can help shape and mould.
I think companies like Workman and the kind of larger companies, they know about it.
Yeah, well, Workman's great. When I first started, it was kind of straight onto the 2-year APC programme, so they really helped us through.
Yep.
It was really encouraged that go and get chartered, get it done early, that's it done. So they were so helpful. Like, we'd have kind of fortnightly meetings where we'd sit down, we'd go through all the competencies and sign them off. So yeah, Workman was really big on pushing you to get it done, which is good. You want to just get it done early and then you don't have to study again.
They're also, I find my experience, and I don't know what yours is like, Polly, but my experience is with larger firms, they know that the likes of Matrix is going on. They know that they're doing these CPDs that are for free, that are accessible to students.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is how supportive are you of businesses? I imagine the larger ones are, because they've got resources they can cover if the students away and they can do that. What about the smaller ones, when they know that it's up to the students to invest their own time? How difficult is it to get them to embrace it? I know you were with ESBC.
For Matrix, for them to embrace Matrix.
Yes.
Oh no, I think that they do. I think in some senses more.
And a lot of the ones we done, it was always after work, so you could just finish kind of day, and then woke up. It was usually in Glasgow.
Yeah, try and do it like an evening or a lunchtime. It's not like, come at 2 o'clock in the day.
Yeah, and you're giving up your time.
You're giving up your time. I definitely have experience where smaller firms are all over it because they've maybe only got one graduate.
Yes.
And the last person that sat their APC did it 20 years ago. So they think, right, well, obviously things have moved on, technology's changed, the whole assessment's actually evolved.
Yep.
So they're in tune with it and they're saying, right, no, go to that and go and get the knowledge that's here and now rather than... So
there's complete buy-in, which it's a win-win for you guys.
I think so.
It's a total win-win for you guys. The benefits of that education process, especially the learnings, has there been anything you've been on a course, you've been on direction, that's your journey, but been anything you've learned and you went, oh, that's nice, and taking you on a different journey? Is there anything like that you've done, that you've experienced through re-educating yourself and doing obviously with RCS? Is there anything you've done that you'd be surprised you would have done?
Say RICS again.
I know. It's going to be a tough day.
You're going to swallow that microphone.
It's always.
Just make sure you don't get them switched around for the next one.
On that journey, has there been anything that's taken you off course that you didn't think that you would? If that makes sense.
I'm still quite new. I'm only 3 years. So I'm just enjoying a wide variety of everything at the moment. There's nothing specifically that I'm I want to go down that line.
Yes.
I'm just enjoying kind of everything at the moment and different experience in all areas of surveying. So yeah, I wouldn't say I've got a kind of direction I'm going on at the moment.
You can see that a lot, especially with yourself and the other students that we worked with through all of our clients. You can see them being really reactive to the learnings that they're doing, which again takes them down that journey, which is fantastic. And it must be rewarding for you at the end when you see some students come through and they actually say thanks. Do you get that?
Oh,
thank you, Katie.
Too late!
This is your life, Katie.
Yes.
So if we've got time, I actually do have a lovely little story about that. So I got a phone call last year from the previous Aberdeen Matrix chair, and he said, oh, Katie, I've got this guy. He's contacted me. He's struggling with his APC. He doesn't really feel like he's got like a lot of direction and stuff, but he's a building surveyor. I'm a QS. Could you pick up the phone to him? And I said, yeah, of course, that's fine. So I phoned, spoke with him, and I did kind of get the impression that what Matthew, the Aberdeen chair, had told me. Yeah, this guy was, he was worrying about resitting and stuff, and I said, look, it's fine, send me your stuff, I'll have a look at it. Yep. Are you sure? And I went, yeah, of course, it's fine. No, you don't have to do that. And I went, well, I will if you want, like, it's okay. So I did all that, kind of had like a bit of exchange with him over a few weeks, couple of months or whatever. And then I got a phone call I was on site in Aberdeen, like before Christmas. And it was a number that I didn't have saved, but like my phone comes up like if you've sent them a text message before or something, like the most recent message. So I'm like, what's that type? So I answered it. I thought, right, it's obviously someone that I've spoken to before. So I answered it and I said, hello. And he said, hi, it's such and such from, and I won't give his name and stuff. He went, I just wanted to contact the people who helped me with my APC. I got my results today and I passed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I was having quite a stressful morning on site. And I honestly, I filled up. I was just like, oh, thank you so much. And he went, no, thank you so much. And that was, I then phoned Matthew to tell him. I was like, he's passed.
That's brilliant.
And I did nothing.
Yes.
I literally looked at his stuff and I said, right, let's think about that. But go and speak to your counsellor, go and speak to your supervisor, because it's not up to me. I'm not putting these people through. I'm literally just somebody
that's had experience and just trying to help.
But that's not nothing though. Having somebody who can guide you in that and give you some reassurance that you're not as far off the mark as you think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that, because again, you said this at the very beginning, it's people that have lived it. Mm-hmm. So when somebody tells you that, you're like, okay, like they've got it, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Same way, I suppose, it's in any walk of life, or I've got 2 young kids. I can tell my kids to do something and my brother could say it and they'll listen to him, but not me.
Yeah.
It's not saying, no, you understand this, I'm going to listen to what you're saying. So it is really impactful, that sense of connection again. For somebody who's on the outside of it, it makes me understand why you guys have got such a sense of pride when you talk about the matrix and everything that you're a part of there.
Yeah. I even had my a few girls in the office. They'd obviously went through it before, so they knew the process. And my counsellor reviewed everything and it was good, but I just wanted them to have another look. So, and they picked out wee things as well, because they'd obviously had experience and they'd had the feedback of things that had been picked out. So they were able to help me as well with it, which was so nice. Like we would finish work and because we're all friends as well, we would just sit and go through it and they would give me wee pointers. So when I'd done my wee LinkedIn, I was like, thank you to all these guys as well.
But do you not love it on LinkedIn, like when it's people that you have met at events and stuff, and you're sort of keeping up with their journey and you know that they're planning to sit, and then they post that they've passed, and you're like, yes. I just get so happy for them.
It's interesting because, again, that sort of leads us into the next question is, you left the classroom, you finished university, you finished doing your courses, and there was also a big gap between that and actually going on to a construction site. How did you bridge the gap? I'm
going to ruin your question.
Yeah.
Because I was a part-time student, so I was fine.
Yeah.
See?
So I was already working full-time.
Right. So you were ahead of the curve before anybody else.
This one is exclusive.
Right, so we'll take Katie on that one and we'll just go straight to Holly on that one.
So I studied during COVID as well, so that was doing like lectures over Teams and stuff. So
that's
that was
nuts.
You're not.
That makes me feel really old.
I know.
So you're not getting that on-site experience. It's all just kind of, you're getting kind of like book smart and all that kind of stuff, and you're understanding the legislation, all that kind of thing, but you're not actually getting on site.
Yes.
Which was quite difficult, it was. But you've just got to kind of throw yourself into it, I think, is the best thing. Like once
learning a job, doing other things, especially with the consultancy, with Workman itself, they're a big company, so you've got that resources to, but again, COVID, you're stuck in the house, you're not doing that interaction, that mixing. In fact, we were talking about it with Chris and Stephen, but bringing people back into the office and making that, because that's where you do learn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's where you get that whole aspect. And that's, again, one of the key, what RICS does is get people together rather than doing that remote learning, which again is really important. Yeah. Next one.
You're looking at me?
Yeah, 'cause,
You're up next now.
Keith threw a curveball there by going, oh, good part-time. So, if you could add one mandatorily fun subject to survive in the curriculum that wasn't there when you were students, what would it be?
That needs to be relevant to the job. It can't just be, something fun in general.
No.
Makeup. A fun subject.
I mean, how do you make surveying fun?
Well,
I think just on site.
I'm joking.
How rude.
I'm going to do here.
What do you think?
I think probably more on site stuff.
Yeah.
Even like working at height, something like to do with that. I think that would be quite interesting.
That would be fun for me, but yeah.
Well, you know how much I like being up my roof. Do you know what I mean?
And I said earlier, drone surveys maybe. Like if you, I don't know, obviously they can't really do that for everyone to get a drone survey license,
Yeah.
but I think that is quite fun. That's obviously kind of what's kind of coming now as well, is
Totally.
drone surveys and roof surveys, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
So if you change the word then from fun into enjoyable, if there was an element there either that you touched on as a student, or you felt, I wish there was more of that within the curriculum, or something now they've experienced that you think, actually, that's something that should have been brought back earlier into how we learned.
So I've got one, but it's definitely not fun or enjoyable. Nobody will share sort of my opinion, but I think that CDM should be covered way more in university than it is.
Why?
Because it just wasn't. I got like a half a lecture on CDM, and it was just like this really brief overview. And I was like, I know so much about this, because at the time I was sitting in a CDM department working with a principal designer.
Yes.
And he was teaching me so much about it. And now I feel that having done that at student stage and very early career stage, I feel I've just got like a better knowledge of it than people who didn't do that. Yeah. And I can't believe that it's not like a whole module at uni.
I'm now finding it's not, because it's it's for a particular serious request when I'm doing every quality submissions as a CDM. So I'm surprised it's not a unit on its own, and it's something that they don't invest a bit of time in. That's interesting.
I do find it interesting.
Yeah, no,
I did
that's
my dissertation.
that is.
I'm
No,
really sad.
someone who does the quality submissions, I totally get it. I thought it was a big part of,
Yeah.
it'd be a big part of your learning. It's interesting.
I couldn't believe how little there was on it.
Yeah.
But had I not been in that job at the time, I wouldn't have known any different. So, but then you get to the point where you come out, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh right, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
What's a pre-construction information?
Yeah.
What's a construction phase health and safety plan?"
No, this is obviously something you've experienced
Well,
as well.
you've
just
probably had to
throwing it in
learn
the deep end.
about it.
Yeah.
Like after you've come out of uni, and I just feel it's like sort of
I feel like even like things like NBS we didn't really learn in uni.
didn't
doing
learn
like
any
prelims
of
or
that. Yeah,
spec.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
another
there's
big
so
thing.
much to that, like so much.
Yeah,
But,
there's a very small section on that
yeah,
in building surveying studies.
but you don't really.
Just take us up to the uni. We'll just rewrite the programme. That's fine.
No, but
I'm joking.
Don't go
No,
with that.
but that again, that's a really interesting thing to say. Is, do you get the opportunity to engage with the universities because you're part of an outside?
The Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah, I have
But
Matrix.
is that not something you could address them with? You could actually say,
don't know. I've not tried.
but because if you've got that
Yeah.
gap between, and you can listen, so you don't need to then do the whole introductions. You're part of the uni process, so therefore that gives you kind of that opportunity to engage with them and say,
Yeah.
these are some things. It might go over their heads, but they might actually listen. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So all this learning that you guys do with your CPDs and
So knowledgeable.
and there's self-learnings. Like me, if something comes along one day that suddenly changes the behaviour in the way you work, in your aspect about the job, has there anything been a kind of light bulb moment with CPDs and changed the way that you work, or the way that you act or behave, specifically around any projects or workload? That's a Campbell question.
you can get some bubble music on.
I know.
That was the one that, like, just the tumbleweed.
Damn, well, the edits the one out.
Just expose myself and actively listening to every single CP.
So technically what they said is they've done nothing right, and they take nothing back. No, I'm only joking.
I mean, there's definitely things that I've done in CPDs that is, like, for example, for me, the classic ones, the flat roofing, and there's loads of different manufacturers, system providers out there, but it's all the different sort of like testing and stuff that they'll come and do for you, and you can actually get a really detailed analysis to provide to your client and say, look, this is the problem. It's actually so much better than going up and taking a few photographs. You've actually, like, that's one that I thought was really good. Like, actually seeing the cores of the roof.
Yes.
So you actually have a proper look through it to see where it's failing. And so yeah, I think technical stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, with technology now being faster, even better for you guys as surveyors, what's the gadgets now that you use a lot and some that you wish you could have?
So we have like distals and stuff, dictaphone, but we kind of had that in uni anyway.
Yes.
You've did allude to the drones tech-wise. From you, is there anything, I suppose, the day-to-day, maybe rather than looking at the whole scope of the industry, is there anything day-to-day that would make life a bit easier for you that you wish was more readily accessible?
Someone to help me do my work. An extra pair of hands.
Do you guys...
The drone things, like, for me, I don't know about Workman, but...
for roof surveys as well.
Reid Mitchell have recently just put a whole load of guys through the training, and that's now a service that we're providing. And that seems to be, I'm not directly involved in it, but that seems to be really attractive for clients as well, to get that sort of snapshot without having to put a whole scaffold up.
I know you're doing a lot more as well, especially with work. But with AI, do you use that? Have you tipped your toes into using that?
Terrified. Terrified.
Yeah. Don't be terrified, because it's not...
Other than, can you put a filter on this?
No, don't be terrified by it, because it's actually, it's really, really helpful.
I used ChatGPT for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
Brilliant. What did you ask it?
What can we rename the Matrix Thursdays? And it came up with a great one.
I told you.
It did.
See, I told you.
It did. And then I said, right, okay, it's on a Thursday, it's once a month, and it's for surveyors, but it's not just all about drinking. And it gave me a whole list of drinking. So I said, no, take drinking out of it.
Yes.
But I was polite. But
Yes.
No, I don't like that. You feel yourself going like,
say please.
Thanks. Thanks, a wee kiss.
I know.
It's so bad.
Okay, education is really part of a long journey for you guys, and I think with you guys with education, it's always about learning and getting better at your job. But if there's anything with your education you could possibly change in the job that you do, or the structures, or a project, is there anything you think, I'd love to do that?
Like, for example, through your university, is there a placement year?
Yes, so
Right.
that was how I switched to the part-time degree.
Yes.
So I went to uni. I went to Cali. I got second year entry because I had done 1 year of architecture when I left school. That wasn't working, so I left at the end of the first year, worked as an estate agent for a bit, and then I was going back to uni. And they offered me second year entry. So I was like, right, well, that's good, because I had applied for first year and I thought, well, that shaves a year off it. So Cali's placement's the end of second year. So it starts at the end of second year and the first semester of third year. Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a while ago
I
for
had
me.
COVID though, so I was like...
Oh, did
Yeah.
you? No. But I started like a placement. It must have been like sort of this time, April. It must have been like March, April time. And then in the August, the firm that I was with offered me a full-time job on the basis that I would complete my degree part-time. So like I worked 4 days and went to uni 1 day.
Brilliant.
So that was fourth year part-time. So I've gone from second year full-time to fourth year part-time. So the placement stopped and I moved on to the part-time course. And then that's your like bachelor's year.
Yeah.
And then your honours year's fifth year part-time.
That's what Jack's done from work. Well, he's did it all part-time. And he's just qualified.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because it's the same number of modules.
Yes.
And what's the word? It's not points. Credits.
Oh, credits, yeah.
Points. Harry Potter. It's the same number of modules and credits as a full-time student.
Yeah.
But you have to go to work 4 days a week and do all the same coursework.
Yeah, it's intense, but has that level or that continuous practical experience, do you feel that helped mould and guide?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, that'll help your APC, like, studying for that, because you're basically working full-time and studying as well.
Yeah, so I was able to, like, backdate kind of 6 months of diary.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but it's the only way to do it.
Yes.
So, like, do you know that?
Well, it's that work life apprenticeship and skills now from school, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's more and more opportunities. In fact, my niece is doing her accountancy. She was going to do nursing. 17, left, got a job with one of the big car dealerships, Arnold Clark, and they put through. So now she's now doing a CA this year.
Yeah.
So just went in as an accountant, and I love that gradual, and it's funny, it's interesting, that level of skills, and I love that because I did a placement year, but the company didn't offer me a job.
You can't do very well.
I think they were glad to see the back of me, to be honest. You know, make you laugh. You might say, "Don't be stupid, Gerry."
Talent, Gerry.
I know exactly. I think there's a subtle hint of sarcasm in there.
So he's going to be down to the arm of this by the end of this podcast.
So,
So close.
I feel like what's his name? No, who's the guy that always sings really close to his mind?
Is it you?
It's me.
Safely moving on. So going past university then, especially for yourself, Holly, you've come out of uni, you've started your working career ostensibly with COVID. Work from home, hybrid, remote, these are all phrases that are part of your vernacular and always will be.
Yeah.
How has that impacted, or do you even feel an impact of joining the sort of working world under that construct of employment?
Yeah, because also when I started, I was straight onto my APC. So was it second year, I think? I was working part-time, and then I was working part-time in fourth year. But when you're working full-time to then go to studying your APC as well, it's trying to manage that time, because you're so used to having that bit extra time that you can kind of go and socialise and do what you want. But yeah, it's just time management of kind of working full-time, doing APC. But I feel like the whole working from home hybrid, it's really good. But I do like going into the office because you can talk to people. You can, like, I've made friends kind of through Workman as well, so you can go in, you can go and get a coffee and chat about work, or if it's something else.
Plus you can ask questions without
you don't have to
Totally.
phone, and sometimes you phone and people are busy. Teams call, you might not get through. So at least if you're face to face with someone,
I hate that.
awesome people
The unbooked Teams call.
Yeah, you're
And I'm like, no, why? You panic.
It's when the camera's up there and you can just see the top of their head, and then you get people who are not really that close.
It's like when somebody's really close to the microphone.
Exactly. I have no idea what you're talking about.
But yeah, so again, same for yourself, that you're different, slightly different stage in your career, but again, you've maybe seen both sides of it, Katie, a wee bit, from having been in the office full time to hybrid. You know, the work-life balance is that tagline. How do you feel that's impacting maybe not just yourself, but maybe younger students coming through into this environment now?
Yeah, so my experience was I was in the office Monday to Friday, and then we were all sent home in like the middle of March 2020, and then when I went back it was pretty much in the office the whole time. When I changed jobs, that was a remote job, so I was based at home, and then my most recent role was based at home as well, although I did have the flexibility of going into an office, which I did occasionally. I probably went in every few weeks, but I wasn't there regularly. But I'm the same as you. Now at Reid Mitchell, I'm in the office way more. I'm kind of coming in like at least 3 days a week, and I quite like it. Like, it's good.
It's quite lonely sometimes when you're at home and
Yeah.
you've not really spoken to anyone at all.
And I think as well, just like you feel like you're moving a bit more.
Yeah.
You've got just even like that commute.
Yeah, the commute. It's like walking up to the office or something. At least you're like, getting out. Yeah.
But I think for the younger generation coming through, in my opinion, they're just too comfortable at home, personally. But I'm maybe a bit old-fashioned.
Listen, I agree. But Holly, you said an interesting word there, describing it. You can feel lonely. There's maybe sometimes there's an assumption that you're younger, you guys enjoy your own company and having the home comforts.
Yeah.
But there's a huge element of the social interaction, which I don't
Totally
think
agree.
it's not just your industry. It's not just that. It's every industry where. And it's going to take us on to the next question where Gerry will pick up on is like that networking and interaction with people, not just those you work with, but everybody within the actual industry you actually are supposed to be able to connect with.
Yeah.
You've got it here, Gerry. There's elements. Do you think it's changing networking?
Well,
Has it
that
changed?
we're a wee bit of disagreement on this, because I see some aspect, and it's good because Niall's opened up a perception of how I perceived it. I mean, a lot of the people that we talk to, especially networking, they're quite prepared to come and do some drinking and some socialising, and you spoke about it earlier on.
I thought you were going to say it and you're always up for a drink.
KTS. But some perceptions are changing, and there isn't that necessarily that drink culture of going out and networking, especially networking. Do you think that takes away the opportunities for networking?
I think it's a different way.
Is that for like working from home?
No, we're talking about like just
general networking.
Because a lot of times, like if we're in the office, if it's a Friday, whatever, we will go out. But a lot of times, if there's people working from home, they're not going to then come into town to then meet up with you because they're relaxed. Whereas if you're in the office, you can say, "Do you know, it's Friday, the sun's shining, it's like, I don't know, payday or whatever. We'll all go out and we'll have a drink, we'll have a catch up." That's for people in the office. But if there's people working from home and then there's only a few people in the office, you're not going to get that kind of big group of people that are going to go out.
Yeah.
I think hybrid work will change over the next year or so. I think the companies will be less likely to. They'll try and restrict their hybrid to specifically people who may have it, like childcare or other avenues.
Yeah.
And I think that will mean that more people will be spending more time in their office. And I think educationally wise, I think that's so important. Also for your mental health as well.
Yeah.
And again, that's why the discussion is we create buildings like this now. Yeah. We create buildings that people they don't need to leave. You've got your gym downstairs, you've got your bar, you've got your rooftop thing. We kind of get that added in. But the key aspect of what Niall and I was talking about, speaking about the drinking aspects. Do you think a lot of people don't do that social interactions now because they're more because they don't drink because they don't drink or they don't?
Does that make sense? I suppose for me, and doing a lot of networking with joining Insight, getting or speaking to the younger generation, I get to say that now as an old guy, they kind of know their boundaries, and their contract says they finish work at 5 o'clock, and so there's not necessarily the same mindset of taking that I'll do extra time out of hours to go to a social event or a networking event, because again, like we're alluding to, our generation was, well, there'll at least be free wine or free beer there, that makes it all right.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be the same pool anymore for the younger generation coming through. So what do you think needs to shift then to, again, going back into, Holly, if your generation aren't feeling that, are you missing out on those opportunities to network with other people in the industry, or is it evolving into different solutions now?
So I think about both, personally.
Yep.
From having seen what Matrix was like, maybe like 5 years ago, pre-COVID.
Yep.
And what it's like now. We did an event a couple of years back, and it was just like an evening. It was a CPD, and we got some catering in because the firm sponsored it. And I said, look, here's like sandwiches, crisps, few sweet things. And it was fabulous, by the way. It was Regis banqueting.
Was it sausage rolls?
Yeah, there was, yeah.
Perfect.
But they had amazing like strawberry tarts.
Had a cake. I think I was at that one. Yeah,
They did that one as well. Yeah, and they did that one.
Strawberry
This
tarts.
is the one
strawberry tarts.
I didn't expect.
No, not at all. Strawberry tarts and sausage rolls. I love it.
Exciting during this.
They do like lovely wee cakes as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Brilliant.
Shout out to.
So if you're not coming to the next, that's what you're missing out on. No, I think so. That one that we did, it was like an evening, and the one that you were at was really busy. But the one that we had done before that, we had allowed for quite a lot of alcohol, and I think I got like maybe 10 cans of juice, and we ran out of juice, and nobody took any wine or beer.
Wow.
And I was like,
This is in the west of Scotland, we're saying as well.
Wow.
that's about 2 streets away.
Wow.
So I was like, oh God, we don't have any we don't have any more juice. And everybody was like, oh, it's fine. Like, and I'm like, do you not want a glass of wine? And they're like, no, it's a Thursday. And I'm
I
like,
know that's what I think.
all
it's
right,
just
okay. But
School day.
I know, well, that's it.
That's nuts, isn't it?
That's changed
I don't know, but I don't think it's nuts, right? I think that there is a big, and see you saying I can say this now because I'm an old guy. I'm becoming an old woman. So I think there's a big shift. Kids want to go to the gym, they want to be healthy.
Yes.
I like going to the gym and I'm healthy. I mean,
Yes.
like
As you can see, we go to the gym on a regular basis.
my skinny coffee.
with no straw.
I would like it on the record that Gerry did not get me a straw for my iced coffee.
Sorry.
I think there's just like a cultural shift about like your general health. Do you not?
Yeah.
Whereas well, I don't know, you're a bit younger than me, but
I agree. The Instagram culture just changed. Everybody has the perceptions on. Yeah. No, I agree
I
with you.
think to go back to your question though, and to get away from the strawberry tarts, I think networking can be a mixture of the two because we have had really successful events, both kind of types.
Yep.
A big thing that Glasgow Matrix is trialling, and Edinburgh and Aberdeen as well, I suppose, is shifting the time to a lunchtime.
Yes.
So it is shorter,
Yes.
but you're maybe getting your CPD for like 30 to 40 minutes, and then you've got that wee 20 minutes of chatting. But it's a quick catch up, and they're maybe a bit more regular.
Yep.
So we're maybe doing one a month instead of one a quarter.
Yes.
But it's not that commitment of, it's
I need to go.
5:30 to 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
People have got lives, they've got families, they've got
You were
pets.
saying something with 5 o'clock, everybody's at the door now. It's like,
Yeah.
do I need to do it? Do I need to go?
We get a lot of questions, can I come to the CPD? I can't stay for the networking because I've got the kids to pick up, or
Yes.
like my mum's looking after the dog and I need to go and get it. And like, no, you don't have to stay for the networking. It's absolutely not, I mean, none of it's mandatory. But,
Yes.
but people look at the time scales sometimes and they think, oh, I can't do it all, so
Yep.
therefore I can't do any of it.
Yes.
But I think that's a key, it's flexible.
Yeah.
Like
Well, there's ones I've been to as well, and if you've had a long day at work, you want to get that little bit extra CPD, and then head up the road because you've got a busy Friday morning or something. You don't want to stay
or your
till later.
housework to do.
Yeah.
Like
The rock and roll stuff we all dreamed of when we were younger.
Shut ironed.
But it is, I think it is, there's an evolution. I think, COVID sparked this work-life balance.
Yep.
And there is now a mindset where it is okay to be like, no, I'm not going out after my contracted hours. I think maybe the pendulum has swung quite far that way. I'd say maybe you're right. It will maybe fall back a little. I don't think all the way back. I think there will be a shift back, but probably, like you're alluding to, Katie, will be because the structure of how networking is created. Companies will start to come up with different ideas for it, like you're saying, during the day. It's sensible. It's how
The
you get
lunchtime
people to
things have been
attend.
really popular. For us, anyway. I can't speak for...
That's what I was thinking about. We were looking at doing this in 180 Bath Street, which is Material Source. I don't know if you've ever been in.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been over, yeah.
It's stunning. And then I was just standing there because we're looking to have a kind of pre-launch of the brand. Anyway, and I was thinking, there's 11 of our clients within probably 200 yards of this whole thing. So you're right, it gives the opportunities for that middle of the day networking opportunities.
That's the thing, yeah. Everybody's here.
Yes.
And I've noticed that even like myself now, coming from either working at home or being in an out of town office, now that I'm in the centre of town, I'm just like, yeah, well, I can make that.
Yes.
And it's not just Matrix that are doing it. There's other, there's law firms and things that do a similar sort of model to what Matrix is. And they do. Yeah. We all go to them. The surveyors all go to them because it's construction updates and stuff.
And they've got good strawberry tarts, I'd imagine.
They don't. It's just
they don't know
Matrix.
what they're doing.
Yeah, well, listen,
So
I can point them in the right direction. It's not a problem.
So it's funny we were talking about cultural aspects there and changing landscapes, especially within the construction industry. We've always known there's been a severe lack of talented women like yourself within the construction industry, but that's changing rapidly and fast. What's your take on that? Why do you think that is? And again, with your perspective and experience, was it an easy journey for you guys?
I feel like it was an easy journey for me. And so I obviously done 2 years HND at college and then went into third year at university.
Yes.
My college course, it was all kind of a lot of men in it
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So I think there was only 3 females maybe on the course. So
Many in the
not-
class.
There was maybe, I think, about 30 odd, so there wasn't a lot. And then come the end of it, obviously, actually there was less. I think there was only 2 at the end of the
Wow.
college course. Going into uni, third year, obviously it was online, but there was a lot more females
Yes.
in the uni course. I feel like I've had a good experience working in the industry as a female overall.
Well, you've got Nicola to work with,
I know,
so
yeah.
you've got who's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, a fantastic lady, and it is interesting you've got that aspect. And again, you've got a big, quite skill set within Workman, who have got a lot of females, especially interacting.
Well, we've just had Zoe start as well. She's our new graduate, so she started in September.
Yes.
So that's another female
Brilliant.
to the team. So yeah.
What about you?
Numbers wise, very similar.
Yeah.
In terms of what was on the university course. I think there was 4 girls in the beginning, and we ended up with 2 that no, because there was people that came in from college.
You must see a lot more though, like especially because you're in with the CIPDs and that RICS. You must
It's always more men
Yes.
than women. Yeah.
What do you think the barrier is? What is there? Well, is there like an open question? Is there a barrier, or is it just?
I don't know. Is there a barrier for men to go into hairdressing? It's the same question.
Please
I just think that
Oh, sorry.
read the room, jeez.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a kind of a female-dominated industry.
Yes.
So is there a barrier? I don't know.
I just think maybe not a lot of females actually know about
I
the job.
didn't know what it was. I was looking for uni courses. I was going to go and do history of architecture. I mean, what job am I going to do with that? Right? That was 100% just, oh, that sounds a bit of fun,
Yep.
right? Which, when you're 18, well, yeah.
If it's a history of architecture, we've stayed in many a weekend watching movies and stuff like that. I get it, absolutely.
I'm like, oh, maybe I'll be the curator for okay, and right, okay, yeah, very good.
I can just imagine you creating the National Geographic videos for that today.
I didn't know what building surveying was.
Yes.
I knew what quantity surveying was.
Yes.
And I knew I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then I sort of like stumbled across this, well, you know what it's like, you're trolling uni websites, literally reading prospectuses from cover to cover, and saw this building surveying, I read it a bit. So I went into my work the next day and was chatting to one of the guys that I sort of worked with, and I said, I've found this course, because he said, right, what's happening? You're going back to uni, have you applied yet? Because he was kind of aware of the deadline dates and stuff. And I went, oh no, I've got like a couple of ideas. It was history of architecture and something else along the history of art, like sort of route. And he's like that. And I went, but I found this course, it's called building surveying. I mean, I don't really know what it is, but it sounds quite good. And he said, that's what my degree's in. And I went, really? And he said, yeah. And you know, you would quite enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
I think you would quite like it. And his advice at the time was to go to Glasgow Caledonian if I could, because they offered a placement, which worked for me, because although that job was in Edinburgh, I was still living sort of this side.
Yeah.
So, like, I still stayed at home when I did uni. I just got the train in and out.
Yes.
So yeah, that was how I discovered it. Literally just stumbled across it.
What about you?
I think I said when I joined Workman it was some story about a rural building that I was passionate about. Like,
I'm a geek.
magic.
I love buildings. Yeah.
But I think it was my dad actually. I was sitting. My dad's not from a building background. He's actually a diver, so it's like very far from
Brilliant.
being a builder.
Brilliant.
Are you scared of heights?
So I think I just sat down and I was looking through different courses. I originally wanted to be a vet, being from Butte and being from like having the horses and stuff and animals. I was like, right, I want to be a vet. And then I kind of thought, nah, that's a bit like...
That's quite intense,
yeah,
a vet.
Quite intense. And then I think I was talking to my dad. I was looking at engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering. And then...
That was one I looked at.
Yeah.
Civil
And
engineering.
then I just came across building surveying, like my dad, and we sat and spoke about it. And I just think as well, it's because you done your course, you studied your course, and then you were straight into your profession. So
Yes.
it wasn't as if you were just kind of picking any degree at uni, studying it, and then not really knowing what you're into. I loved the fact that I could just do my 4 years studying and then finish uni and then go straight into my profession. So yeah, that's kind of why I picked it. And I think it was more the hybrid being out on site as well. I like being outdoors and stuff. So having that balance of being in the office, being out on site, meeting new people as well. I love meeting new people, so I was like, you meet different clients, contractors, etc. So yeah, that's why I kind of got into it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. The interesting thing from listening to you both there, like, it's great to hear that you felt that there wasn't a barrier there, even if it was, in inverted commas, an invisible barrier, as you say, because of the male domination in the industry. But do you think then there's maybe elements where companies like Workman, Reid, Mitchell, others within, or even in the Matrix, tap into schools earlier then to make an awareness for, no, not just, young girls, but generally the industry as a whole? But do you think that would really help young girls to realise, there's so much more out there than maybe we are realising, because there's a subconscious blinkers put on, or no, this is your lane, you guys stay there.
I think society generally doesn't know what the difference is between a building surveyor, a quantity surveyor, a rural surveyor, a resi surveyor. Like Matrix and RICS have a huge push on trying to get into schools at the moment, and I've talked at board level about this that I didn't know what it was. And the RICS are saying, right, well, that's a problem there. We've had someone who has gone through the uni application process first time round, gone into, I know it's not the same industry, but it's still property and construction course for architecture. It's not worked out. And she actually doesn't even know that surveying exists. I mean, to me, like when I talked about the quantity surveying, to me that was like the equivalent of a maths degree. And it's not. It's totally not. But so straight away I was like, oh no, I don't really fancy that. And there's technical and there's numerical aspects to building surveying, but I think from the careers fairs that I have attended personally, parents don't know what surveying is. When you tell them you're a building surveyor,
they don't know.
They hear in their head quantity surveyor and they go, oh no, she doesn't want to do that. And I'm like, well.
That's interesting, especially the lack of knowledge on the careers path, because it's the same with we work with Bowder quite a lot, and Vinny, and
I saw Stuart last week.
I'll see him on Saturday night when the boss does his Strictly, which I might get sacked. Wait till he sees the advert. Anyway.
There'll be no episode 4 now.
Oh my God.
Just want to have Gerry on it. That's all right.
I'll take his place. No, I won't.
Whoa! You know, it's a bad thing if anything, Katie. They've got a severe. My learnings was there was obviously a roofing course as such, but there's no actual roofing. There's not a qualification for roofers.
No, because it's like an apprenticeship, isn't it? Yeah.
It's insane. And that's why they can't recruit.
As well,
Exactly. I mean, I would do it because I love being up roofs. But anyway, this gets.
You like being on a roof too?
Yeah, I love roofs.
Subliminal message.
If there's any roofs out there that you want me to go up, please let me know. Which leads us perfectly into the last question: is all the young people coming through, especially the aspects of what your journey, what you've learned. How would you convince, if there was a sales pitch to convince a young person to come and to be a surveyor, to work in the construction industry, what would be the advice that you give?
Just go and do it. Just phone me and I'll talk you into it.
Phone Katie and she'll talk you into it.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
just put it as a barrier.
Call Katie on 10800. Call Katie.
That sounds like a dodgy.
That's another one.
But is it a case of for you just like take the leap?
Yeah, it's definitely not a case of phone me that I was joking. Well, joking sort of half, I suppose. I actually spoke with someone a couple of weeks ago who is later in her career and is considering a complete career change. And I sort of sat with her and she said, listen, I'm kind of looking at this and this. She's going to have to retrain. She's got a degree, but it's completely unrelated.
Yeah.
And she is seriously thinking about coming into surveying. So I had a chat with her, and it was the usual. It was like, what's a typical day? And you're like, well, it's like any job, there isn't a typical day.
Yeah.
Like, but kind of talked to her about the sort of stuff that Reid Mitchell do, the sort of stuff that I've done in my previous roles. And I said, but look, that's not all there is to building surveying.
No.
It's actually really, really big, because the stuff that you do, like the kind of retail side of things, the tenant side
I
of
think
things.
a lot of people think it's just.
I don't have experience. Like I don't have experience in that.
Yeah. It's so
particular-
varied. There's so much to it. There is.
I think that would be my kind of advice. Is it is varied. Have a look. Quantity surveying's not bad. I know loads of nice quantity surveyors. But yeah, I think building surveying's more design orientated. Like that's kind of what drew me to it. There was still a bit of design aspect to it. I consider myself quite arty. But
I do think some people think that when you say building surveying, it's just surveying buildings, the labs.
Sticking damp meters and plasterboard and stuff.
Because that is a focus. If you search up building surveying, that is a focus. So if you go on Google, that's what you get. But a lot of it is you've got project management as well, which I don't think people realise that you're doing project management as well.
Yeah, and like whole contract admin side of things as well.
Yeah,
that's like a big part of my experience.
So there's so much to it. But yeah, I think people should just go. Like even when I chose it, I didn't know 100% if that was what I wanted to do as a career. I wasn't like, is this 100%? But then I started it and I loved it and I love it now. So I think if you are considering it, just go for it.
Brilliant.
And then you can always change. Like I think there's people that I graduated with they got their building surveying degree and they went into project management. I think you can do that. I don't know if you can do that with quantity surveying. I don't know if you can be a project manager with quantity surveying, but with building surveying I do know that some of the girls have went into project management, specialised in that, because they've obviously enjoyed that during their course. And that's what they're doing now. And they love it.
I think the last bit of my advice would just be, just go try it. See if you don't like it, just do first year.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm a firm believer in leaving uni. I did it once and it worked out the second time.
No, I totally agree.
So do you know what I mean? Like, if you hate it, well, it's fine. It's experience and you've tried it and you know that you don't like it. When I chose it, I had no idea about the APC. I was like, what do you mean there's another exam? So I learned about the APC probably like
the last week of fourth
year. Half the year fourth year. I'm like,
oh no.
Yeah, you didn't study it, then have to sit another test once you get the degree.
I was like, what do you mean there's a whole other submission? All this coursework?
Still got to learn for the next 10 years.
I know. No.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you today. It really has. We knew it'd be good fun. I mean, to be honest. I mean, you tried to take my role at my side of the mic, Katie. Thank you.
Would you sit further back from the microphone though if you did take it, just as a question? Just that's fine.
If that would swing it.
No, I thank both of you for joining us.
Brilliant, it's been brilliant.